the issue I've got is I work night shifts, so I tell you what, it's crazy how I do that and then get up in the mornings and stuff. The first year, everyone kind of thought, they'll go 1 year and it will just kind of fall apart. And to be fair, you know, at times I thought maybe it was going to be the same, but every year I keep saying yes. That has never happened for us. They'd be already wanting an open top bus. Do you know what I mean? So, right. If we are going to play like this in the second half, we're not playing. We're going home, I'm going to work, I'm getting there and I'm not going to be late.
Ice in my veins, I've been driving this train. Years in this lane, there's no stopping this flame. Cause I came to the game and I changed it to play how I like.
Welcome back everybody and welcome back to another POGESCAST. Today I have a special guest with me again and we've got Jordan.
Hi.
Who's from Sandhurst.
Thank you for having me.
No problems, mate. Thank you for being here this morning.
It's my pleasure, my pleasure.
Excellent news, right. So yeah, we're just going to have a chat with Jordan just to see a little bit about life in football and other bits and pieces that are relevant to that. So there we go. So yeah, Jordan, how are you today, mate? So Saturday morning?
Yeah, doing well. It's an early start, but Saturday mornings are always a bit of a whirlwind for me. I get myself up early, get prepared. The last few years I've been managing, so yeah, make sure I'm all prepared for the game and stuff. But no, it's been good. It's nice to get on something like this. I think it's a great idea. Gets all the teams involved. You get to understand everyone's understanding in the league, and I think that's a great idea, really.
Yeah. So while we're on that, actually, we are looking to go and get other guests on there. So if you're an Eastburts club and you want to get a representative over to us, then please let me know. Or anyone else who's anything to do with football locally, just let me know and we'll organise that and hopefully you can come on and do a POGESCAST. So Jordan, tell me about you. Tell me about how you got into football. There's always a story there.
There's always a story. Yeah, no, to be fair, I was like the first grandson, first nephew in the family and everything. And my dad's got two brothers. They're all into their football. I'm originally from East London, so that's why the accent.
So you're a proper spoiled man.
Yeah, so my old man's West Ham, that side of the family is West Ham, but funnily enough, his two brothers went a bit rebellious. One went Man United, one followed his Scouts mates and went Liverpool. And on my second birthday, I got a West Ham shirt from my dad. I got a Man United shirt from my uncle, and then my other uncle bought me an England shirt with Gerrard on the back, and he took a risk, it paid off. I supported England, and then about 6 months later, I asked my dad who Gerrard played for, and he tried to convince me West Ham, but, yeah, unfortunately for him, he had to own up that it was Liverpool, and it's been Liverpool ever since. I mean, I've seen us through some torrid times, I've seen us through some fantastic times. But yeah, no, Liverpool through and through. I try and go as much as possible. I work around the schedule and stuff. I was actually there at Brighton last week, which was a bit of a poor performance. But yeah, I do go a lot. But yeah, so I got into football. I got pushed into it quite a bit, and there's a lot of like academies in London. And from a young age, I showed some bright talent. Got into an academy called Interwood. So Interwood were like an academy base with all ages up until I think 16. So I was there when I was 7. Did very well, to be fair. Got into some good clubs and stuff, and Charlton came calling. Yeah, nothing kind of went from Charlton, but I had talks with them and stuff like that, but nothing kind of developed. And then when I was 9, I moved up to Sandhurst and started playing for Sandhurst Town. So yeah, it's been a big part of my life for a good 15, 20 years. But no, to be fair, from the moment I joined Sandhurst, I got involved with a lot of the managers, a lot of the players. I think when I was 13, I went to Barnet for trials. Met Edgar Davids. That was a bit of an experience when he was player manager, so that was great. But to be fair, I've enjoyed it at those top levels. I've played at the top teams in Sandhurst, but I've also kind of played at the lower levels and stuff like that with my mates and stuff. And then About 5-6 years ago, my dad started up the team for my brother, and the team was going okay. You know, we had a lot of players come from a background that wasn't really football, and my dad works a lot, so I kind of helped out where I could, did some training for them, and kind of like turned up to the games when I could. And eventually, I don't know how it kind of happened, it just kind of popped up that I was going to become a bit of a player manager. And for the first year or two, I was player manager, and then I kind of went into it and thought maybe it'd be good if I took a step back and took it a big role on as a manager.
Okay.
I do play Sundays, so I do get the chance to play football.
Okay.
I haven't packed it all in, but I've been manager. So this is now my 4th full season for Sandhurst, the under 23s, and it's my 5th season involved with the club, like this club that I'm managing now. But Sandhurst, since 2007, so 15 years I've been with Sandhurst, and it's been brilliant. I've met a lot of the people. I know a lot of people around the area now because of it. I've branched out to a lot of clubs, spoken to a lot of managers. I often speak to Rob from Hype Train, Ryan from Stoke, Poges, all of the managers. Just stay in touch because it's a nice environment to be in. I love football, and everyone's got a backstory to it, and that's the thing.
Yeah.
That's the thing I love.
Yeah. Well, that's why we obviously started to do this, is because I know people's some people's backstories, but I don't know everyone's, and I don't know what people do. So it's kind of like, let's find out.
Yeah, exactly.
We're playing football with these guys. We see you for 90 minutes, maybe a little bit longer, and then you kind of wanting to know a little bit more about who, what, where, and why.
Yeah.
All interesting. We'll shake hands afterwards, hopefully. And then,
of course,
Then we go from there, basically. But that's why we started this. So obviously you're 24 now, you say?
Yeah, 24.
Wow. Okay. So very young. And it's still, whatever happens, it's still very young to take over a football team at basically 19, I imagine you were.
Yeah.
So obviously maybe had a little bit of help, but that's a big thing to tell a load of lads, even though you may be a couple of years older than them. So I know they were quite young when they first started. Yeah. Telling people pretty much your own age what to do and how to do it, and managing a football team, that must be hard work, mate. Yeah,
I mean, as I said, I went down, and at the time I was 18 training them. I like to kind of have my own spin on a lot of things. I do a lot of back research with like drills and little tips and tricks and tactics. You've got the internet for that, YouTube and stuff, but the thing that I like to do is I don't really like to copy what I see. I like to kind of add my own twist to things. So there's certain drills you might see me do and you go, that looks familiar, but there's a little spin to it. But so 18 I started training them, and I was still playing Saturdays and Sundays at the time.
Okay.
And then I took over the club fully at 19, and we went into the kind of it was the last year in the under 18s for them. And then we went into the men's league where we met you guys. I did have a very, very young squad that year. I had a lot of players, because my brother plays for the club, I had a lot of players that were my brother's friends or my friends, and it's a bit difficult for them to kind of switch into that mode of, he's my brother's, he's Bradley's friend or he's my friend, now he's my manager. So the first year or so it was very difficult, especially because I was playing. And I think that was where I kind of took that little thought. I'll tell you a funny story actually. It was it was in the pouring rain here, and we did get thumped by you first season, and we turned up, and I actually got sent off. And I don't know if you recall that. And there was a bit of arguing in the away changing room and stuff, but we had a 2-week break after that, and I took a bit of time away from football, had a little thing to it, spoke with my dad. And I kind of said, do you think it's a good idea? Maybe I'll take a step back and let the boys play, but then have a little bit more of a vision on the sidelines. So we trialled it, and I mean, I'm still, even to this day, signed on. Like I still will play if we need it. But to be fair, we trialled, and we actually, if you can remember, we actually turned the season round. I mean, we had such a poor start to the season, but we finished the season unbeaten in 5, which for the boys was a bit like, like, this is different nature for us. But yeah, it was a really tough decision because I love my football.
Yeah.
But the thing that I needed the boys to understand is it wasn't just, you know, everyone comes to enjoy football on a Saturday, but everyone's competitive, everyone wants to win.
Yeah.
And the thing I said to the boys was, I just think maybe if I took a step back and took it on as a managerial kind of experience, you show me the respect as a manager and we'll work from there. And as I said, I don't know if you saw the press conference after Eton Wick, I said it's been you know, building years for Sandhurst. I've always given the chance to players to play football. We've got players that have never played football, we've got players that have played at high levels, stuff like that. But this year we sat down as a club, because we had an alright season last season. We lost some games that we shouldn't have, but we got a good enough points, but we know we can do better. And this season I sat down with them and I said, let's bring in some players that we need to fill the gaps that we're missing. Let's bring in some players that want to play for the club, that are determined to win games. And to be fair, I wasn't expecting the summer we had, but we had a fantastic summer. We had a lot of players come and try out for us, a lot of keen players, a lot of very talented players as well.
Yeah.
Very, very intense summer. I mean, I was away for a month and then we came back in July, and July was flat out. I mean, Tuesdays, Thursdays, we were doing 4-hour sessions. We were really kicking it on and stuff. But the boys wanted that. The boys really wanted that, and you know, I put them through their paces, but it's paid off at the start of the season. We've had a really good pre-season, really good start to the season. And to be fair, it's a weird one because I never really thought I'd go into managing. I've done refereeing, I've done playing, but managing, I just never thought it'd be me.
Right, so you go on Sunday, which I think most people will probably jump on as well if they could. Referee?
Yeah, so it's a crazy one actually. It was, my dad kind of was like, oh, you know, Sandhurst have run out of referees. Do you fancy maybe jumping on the course, helping out where you can? I was like, well...
They don't really twist your arm a lot, don't they?
Yeah, he likes to have a lot of say in it, but do you know what, I respect him for that. He's put me down some great avenues in football.
Yeah.
And refereeing, it was like a, you know, morning thing, and then I'd play a bit later on in the day, and then I'd kind of like do little kids ones in the week and stuff, and I got really into it. And in fact I actually went to county level as a linesman. So I was at Frimley Green, I remember that. It was an 89th minute winner. They set green flares off in the stadium, and there was about 100 of them. But yeah, no, I've done some big games. I've done some cup semi-finals and stuff as a linesman and as a referee. It's good. It's nice to. The one thing that was really good for me is I got to experience what it feels like as a referee. So we all have our issues with referees.
Well, I'll just I've seen the abuse of referees too. Times.
I got myself into trouble last season against Old Windsor actually, after the whistle. But yeah, I'm very passionate, very, very passionate. You know, as I say, I'm a Liverpool fan. The boys tend to. It's nothing because I'm a Liverpool fan, but I tend to be called Jordan Klopp, they call me, because I'm very passionate on the sidelines. It gets a little bit, you know, I get a bit crazy and stuff, but that's just because I love the game. But refereeing, yeah, it was a weird one because I looked into it, and it was just to kind of get an understanding of how they deal with the game and stuff. So I always understand where a referee comes from. We all disagree with a referee's decision here and there. Sometimes a bit more than others, but yeah, it gives me an understanding of everything going on in the game.
So tell me the process of that. Obviously, your dad's pushed you into it. He said, Jordan, I want you to become a referee. Yeah. You've gone off and contacted the FA?
Yeah, so Sandhurst do like their own course with the FA. So you can go through the Sandhurst you branch out to the committee.
And do they pay for that?
Off the top of my head, I don't know. I know I didn't pay for it, so it might have been my dad. But I didn't pay for it. But it was like a weekend thing, and you do it over a weekend. You do certain scenarios, like how to deal with an injured player or deal with a bit of dissent and stuff like that, which at the young age when you start, like, you know, under 8s and under 9s, you get games. You're not really going to get much dissent other than from the parents.
Yeah, what I've seen. So obviously you're starting that level. You're doing under 9s, under 8s, and did you learn all the laws of?
Yeah. So I did properly get into it. Like, I didn't just turn up for that extra 20 quid on a Saturday morning. I got really into it. I was doing big games for Sandhurst clubs, like cup semi-finals, cup finals, and then I got contacted from a certain, I think it was like a certain FA or something, and they just asked if I wanted to come down and trial with the county. I think it was like county club or something. Yeah. It was weird. You turn up like 2 hours before kick-off in a suit. It was really weird. You know, you meet the staff, meet the team, and you're doing pitch inspections at an hour and a half before kick-off. You're doing your own warm-up. It was a bit weird, but it was an experience.
Okay.
And I'm glad I've done it, because as a manager now, I can see all aspects of the game. I know, you know, how the players, feel, how the referee feels, everything like that.
So what age were you when you done that?
16 I started when I was refereeing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Fair enough. Most of us are not even getting out of bed in time without my mum.
Yeah, I mean, that was the struggle, yeah.
Right, so at 16 you decided refereeing is the way to go.
Yeah.
You're still playing football?
Still playing football, yeah.
Right, yeah. And this is all with Sandhurst?
Yeah, always Sandhurst. So I had the trial at Barnet when I was 14. Unfortunately, it didn't work out, but from 9 all the way through, it's been Sandhurst. I've played for a Sunday team, not Sandhurst, a Bracknell team, but everything else is all around Sandhurst.
Right, yeah. So you've done your refereeing. You thought, right, not quite for me then.
Yeah.
Okay, and then you've basically started playing football for Sandhurst, and you started, or helped start with your dad, a team to go into this league, because obviously what many people don't or do know is obviously you've got a high level team, haven't you, in there?
Yeah, so it's a bit of a weird one. We do get this asked a lot. We don't have much of an association with the Sandhurst First Men. So the way Sandhurst works is it's, you know, from 6-year-old or 5-year-olds all the way up to 18, and then when you get to 18, most people go to university or get jobs, they branch off, they don't normally continue football, so you don't really get many of the men's teams. You got the First Men's, which is like a branch off of them. They play down at the Bottom Meadow Stadium. You've then got the Vets, which funny enough my dad runs.
Oh, right.
So we're involved everywhere, and then it was quite a weird one, and it did take a bit of a process to get it through the door. But when I had the boys and they finished under 18 and they were like, we'd like to continue, had to go to the committee. Luckily my dad knows quite a lot of the committee, so we kind of got a good word in, and yeah, so we don't have an association with them, so a lot of teams do ask that, but we're our own kind of setup, go in a different avenue. So it's a very weird one. A lot of the Sandhurst clubs weren't aware of us for a while and thought we were just making up that we were Sandhurst until they came down, saw who was running it and everything like that. But we don't normally have a men's side, so it was kind of a first thing for Sandhurst, which has actually given us a bit of revenue and recognition now as well. Okay. Because a lot of the clubs now are looking to try and follow our kind of avenue.
So Sandhurst playing around the corner from where you play your home games at the moment.
Yeah.
No chance of you guys playing there?
What, the Astro?
Yeah.
Well, we've tried our best. We do tend to get some Astro games. The problem is so many clubs want the Astro. Yeah. It's kind of like we have to kind of pay a big submission to take it on for the season. So we get weeks where we can. So this weekend we're actually at the Rec, the Memorial Park, and then our following 2 home games are actually at the Astro. So we're a bit up and down at the moment. We tried this season to get it as a full season, but it was just unfortunately not. It's a beautiful pitch though, the Astro.
Yeah, I know it, yeah.
It really is. I mean, they've done really well at Sandhurst School, and we like playing it. We train there in the winter as well, which is nice. But yeah, I mean, to be fair, I'll give the groundsmen some due. They've made the pitch look half decent for this weekend's game, so
it's really hard at the moment. Obviously, everybody got burnt out. You'll see from outside where we are. it's a complete nightmare to be quite honest. I mean, obviously you put white lines on it, but it does look like a bit of a jungle still. You have to let it grow back.
That's it.
And obviously we're just a recreational ground like you are, obviously, so it's limited in what you can actually do.
Yeah, exactly.
To any degree. Okay, so you've got your men's team.
Yeah.
Okay, so no association as such. Is that something that's going to, as you progress, there is going to be a pathway into, or is that not even on the cards yet? Because
I haven't really thought about it, to be honest. I've kind of like gone about my own business. You know, a lot of players I get now, like come from different clubs. I've got a lot of, you know, there's a lot of clubs around us, and we get a lot of players that hear about us now. Something might be in the future. I mean, I haven't really sat down and thought about it yet. I'd have to have a chat with kind of the club and see where they're kind of going, whether or not it's an idea for us to follow suit and stuff, or even give them an opportunity to have some extra players going forward. But at the moment, I'm just focused on this season, focused on like the boys. You know, the boys get to play their football, they get to enjoy it, and you know, when it comes to it, if there was a discussion, then yeah, I'd be happy to sit down and chat with them.
So, something I want to get into yourself because I find it quite interesting. You don't have to give specifics, but
no, that's all right.
Obviously every club's got to be funded somehow or another.
Yes.
And we do ours our way. We've got some fantastic sponsors that you can see up here. We've been lucky enough to get, which has helped us with kits and stuff like. And obviously our guys also pay as well, which I've got to say, they're all fantastic at doing. You don't get any real issues with it all. What do you guys do?
So so Sandhurst itself, the club do put some funds in for like the kids' football all the way up to under 18s. At the start, it was difficult because, of course, it was a new kind of avenue. My dad deals with a lot of the admin. I try to help where I can, but he's much better with money than I am. But yeah, it's definitely working out. We've got, you know, the club's back in now. The club help us where we can. You know, we've got a new chairman in, and a big shout out to him, Chris. He's actually got a kit on order, which hopefully should arrive this week, and that's got a sponsor with it and stuff. So we're kind of, as I said, building recognition, and I think because the first year everyone kind of thought, oh, they'll go 1 year and it will just kind of fall apart. And to be fair, you know, at times I thought maybe it was going to be the same, but every year I keep saying yes. It's the way it is. But yeah, at the end of the day, we've got the backing now. My dad helps a lot. We do get the players to pay as well. They pay, you know, the Astro fees and they pay subs and stuff. So it's a lot of chasing up. But yeah, we've made a lot more of it as well because, you know, it was just like kind of a club playing football. We try and do a lot of things, you know, we try and do little events after football, like even if it's down the pub for one, or we've got Christmas dues, end of season dues and stuff like that. So we're definitely trying to do things like as a proper club and kind of branch it out a little bit more and do kind of just become a bit more of a bonded side. But yeah, the club have helped. The club do really help. I mean, you know, we pay our way here and there, but it mostly is what my dad deals with, so I don't really understand who kind of at the top really deals with it. I just know we do get support from the club itself, Sandhurst now, so...
Oh, that's good news.
Yeah.
Okay, so obviously in terms of, sort of the financing, that's all sorted out for yourself by the club and by the players and such like that. The other bit, obviously you mentioned just now, that Dad does the administration side.
Yes, yeah.
Okay, so he's still involved. So
yeah.
You're just essentially left with coaching the football team.
Yeah, so
managing them on a Saturday.
Yeah, I mean, I tend to try and do as much as I can. I mean, the issue I've got is I work night shifts, so yeah. I tell you what, it's crazy how I do that and then get up in the mornings and stuff. But I do try and make the meetings, even if it's on the Zoom calls. I know we get a lot of AGM meetings and stuff like that. I mean, it's been a bit, I won't go too into depth, but we've had some, we've enjoyed the chats at the moment in the group. I think it's been a bit entertaining for the neutral, let's just put it at that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, my dad does a lot for me, and I mean, if it wasn't for him, I feel like, you know, we would struggle a little bit, so I have to give him great respect. I mean, he does a lot for the club. I try to do as much as I can. You know, the full-time result, like all the updating on the East Berks League. But yeah, I completely training, the matches, everything I do. I contact the referee, contact the manager, everything like at the coach level is what I do. He does a lot of the background stuff. Yeah.
Is there anyone else that helps you in the football team at all?
Yeah, so I will, you know, I've got a couple of players that have been keen to help out where they can. I've got two players, George and Jack. So Jack's my captain. George has been with the club from the very beginning. He helps out where he can as well. But Jack's been my captain for a few years, and I've kind of like got him to develop into kind of helping me out where he can. He runs training sessions now. I've given him a bit more authority and stuff. And, you know, he got him on the press conference a couple of weeks ago. He was a bit surprised to do that, but I just thought it'd be nice for him to just kind of experience things like that, because it's an experience for me. And, you know, even though I've done little things like that, I think it'd be nice to get him involved as well. So he's got a bit of a, you know, authority and stuff, and I give him that, you know, to try and, you know, juggle up with, and he does really well, Jack, and, you know, George as well. I've got my dad, of course, Phil, who is a couple of the boys' dad. He plays for us. We have phone calls regularly. He keeps me updated with.
Was he the big left back?
Left back, yeah. Phil, he loves it. Yeah. So he's a great guy, because the thing with Phil is he still plays for us. He works hard, but it's having another leader on the pitch. So you know, he's got a level head. He knows what he needs to do. He can calm the boys down, because some of them are still quite young. You know, they haven't fully matured, and it's great to have him on the pitch where, because I'm on the sideline, sometimes it might just go in one ear out the other. I get that. You know, I used to be like, my dad was screaming at me on the sidelines, but Phil, he's a great guy. We have lots of conversations. We discuss a lot of things, but that's the same with Jack. You know, Jack and I, we discuss a lot going into games, training, and at the moment, it's the way we're training and playing at the moment, the momentum we're at. We're always trying to think of new things to keep it fresh, to keep it entertaining, but also to learn and to make sure that we're still working at a high level.
Good. All right. Okay. So obviously, you guys have started this season. You mentioned pre-season.
Yeah.
That's come in July.
Yeah.
And it went mad for you. First things first. Who come up with the idea of doing Tuesday and Thursday, so 2 hours?
So we didn't actually think of it. So Tuesday's always our training session. Thursdays I train on my Sunday team, so I wasn't always there Thursday. So again, Jack and George, Phil helped out where they could, which is brilliant, because it gives me a chance to go and play my football as well. But it got to the point where I was turning up to both, but we would just kind of train, and it'd be for an hour, hour and a half whilst it was sunny, and we just continued and to the point we'd be like, oh, it's 8 o'clock at night, like maybe we should call it a night. So it was just the fact that we all wanted to be there. You know, I used to struggle with numbers. I think we've spoken in the past. I used to have to bring my dad in to play. I used to play. We used to turn up with 9 on a Saturday. I did have 7 at training. I'm at the point where at the moment I get 18 at training. I get 18 available on a Saturday. At the moment I'm at this bit where it's a bit like, what do I do? But I love it, because I want it to be difficult for me, because everyone wants to play for the club, and that's all I want. I want everyone to enjoy their football. I want everyone to want to play and be committed. And at the moment, I mean, yeah, we've got some good results, and I'm hoping even if we were to lose a game, it wouldn't change that. But we've got players that are keen to be there every week. So
yeah, I mean. It was quite weird, because obviously we got you down in pre-season.
Yes, yeah.
And you turned up, and to be quite honest, I think the boys had a bit of a shock, because the senior played you.
We played
season before.
Yeah.
Well, no, you were one of the last games we played in the league the previous year before we got moved up, and a massively different side
Yeah.
to what we met this pre-season. Yeah. So the question is how have you gone from someone we absolutely tanked 6 or 7-1 the year before, and we're talking only a few months, September to July, to suddenly turning up and, to be quite honest, probably a little bit of talk of the league at the moment because you've done so well, and you've played well.
Yeah, I'll just quickly mention the way I've kind of based it is that I want us to win everything, you know, every manager wants that, but I've kind of drilled into the boys that, because what normally happens is for example, we beat a side and we then turn up in the reverse fixture, and I used to get a lot of boys in the change rooms before the game. They'd be like, right, you know, we beat this lot, how are we going to do it again? Right, let's go, who's getting a hat-trick today? And that was where our issue was, you know, or a team was below us in the league, and then they go, oh, this team are there for the taking, and we'd get surprised because we wouldn't turn up thinking, oh, right, it's another game, let's be on top of our game. And to be fair, it was a game. We had a tough Christmas last year. We lost a lot of players because of COVID, which everyone did, injuries, and we got one of the worst kind of draws for the cup that you could. I mean, we had the top two teams, so we had Baylis, who were up there. We had Old Windsor, then we had Old Windsor first in the cup, Hype Train in the cup. It was just such a torrid 4 weeks, and I will admit, you know, the boys, you know, will admit as well, we got embarrassed in a few of those games, and we sat down after the 4 weeks. I think it was well over 20 goals we conceded in those 4 or 5 games. Yeah. And I said to the boys, I said, look, we can come down on a Saturday, get tanked every week, go to the pub and forget about it, or we can buck up our ideas, we can make it, you know, make us name of ourselves and actually want to play football. I feel like we go 1-0 down and things just fall apart. And we got through the season, you know, we didn't have the best end to the season. I think we got a couple of draws here, a couple of wins, and then a couple of defeats. And we didn't finish where we particularly wanted to be. And then over the summer, I sat them all down. You know, we had an end of season do, and you know, it's all lovely, trophies handed out and stuff. And I sat them all down and I said, right, this is your idea. I don't get paid for this, so you know, I'm giving up my time. How do we want to approach this season? Because if you want to approach it and want to fight on all fronts, we will. Because I know, because the thing is, I know how good my players are. I know what their abilities are. I would never say to them, you know, you can go and do this and that if I didn't think they could. You know, I'm straight to the point. I'll be 100% honest with them, and I know what they can do. And I just kind of had to kick them up the backside a little bit. I just said we need to show each other some respect. We just need to go out and we need to forget who we're playing and play our football. And you know, in training, I was making sure that it's got to be fun in it, but there's got to be a boundary. You can't just start messing around because you're not learning anything. So it was intense. It was very intense. But the boys, you know, they backed me. They backed themselves, and they wanted to do that. And I think once we started playing in pre-season, you know, we got a good result against you guys. We played a team a couple of divisions above us, Ropley FC. Yeah. And they did beat us. I think they're 2 divisions above us, but they beat us. But we really, really gave them a go. And I think the boys came off the pitch, and rather than being like, oh, we lost, they were like, well, we really gave them a go. Like, we've got something about us. And the third one against Old Phoenix, which is a familiar name. We played on a Wednesday night, and this is where I kind of turned around and was like, okay, something's happening with this club, because we had probably the worst first half I've ever seen in my life. It was embarrassing. Like Stoke, Old Phoenix, I'll give them their due. They played brilliantly. They set up shop. They did what they needed to do, and they punished us. And we got to half time. My dad's come from work. I've got to go to work after the game, and I said to the boys, and I remember exactly what I said. They'll completely agree. I said, right, if we are going to play like this in the second half, we're not playing. We're going home. I'm going to work. I'm getting there, and I'm not going to be late. I said, you either go out there and you win this game, not win the half, win this game, or we go home. And I said, what do you want to do? And they said, what, you reckon we can win this game? I said, you go out there, play what we've been playing like, you'll win this game. And they won 4-3.
Wow.
Yeah, and that was the turning point for them, because I think a lot of them were thinking I was getting a bit carried away. We came off the pitch at full time. Old Phoenix was stunned. Great respect to them. They came over, they congratulated us and everything. And the boys sat there for a good 10 minutes after the game and said, how can we do that? And I said, because you now want to fight, you now have a bit of character about you. And that's the thing that I just wanted them to do. I wanted them to enjoy their football, but play at a standard where, we're not the ones that turn up to get trouted. We can make ourselves a name.
Yeah.
I've told them this season, we're not going to get carried away. Every game's a different game. Every, fixture's going to be big. We've got a tough month ahead as well.
Yeah.
Very tough month ahead.
That's the thing right now, because obviously you've got that situation where you've had a good few weeks, and that's all it has been really, few weeks. But you've got yourselves noticed, and
yes, of course, yeah.
It's obviously how you take it forward from there in the horrible months of November, December.
Yeah, we all hate those months. No, to be fair, for me, I just kind of approach it how I'd approach any other game. You've got to look at it and say, well, there's some big teams in this league. Your Stoke Poges want to go up. Old Windsor, they had the heartbreak of last year not going up. Cressix, all the other teams. Frontline have had a good start. Baylis have had a good start. We have a tough month ahead, and the way the boys have got to approach it is, it's not about, last week I put the message out because we had a good weekend without playing. A lot of teams drop points, but it's not about what anyone else does, it's about what we do. And I know with the capabilities we've got, if we turn up and play our football, we can beat teams.
Yeah.
It's just all about how they approach it. If they turn up fully focused and thinking it's another game, then I know we're really in it. If they turn up and think, we're top of the league, we're going to win the league, that's it, that's not going to happen. And I've drilled that into them, because it can switch like that in football. You can literally have one game where you lose and then you just come crashing down to earth. And at the end of the day, I'd love us to go and beat them. Whether that happens or not, I don't know. But if we were to lose a game, then I make sure that I get the boys in. I'm not going to kick off at them, but they've just got to understand that if we lose a game, you've got to bounce back like that.
Yeah.
And that's the way we're playing at the moment. That's the way that we're all kind of focused on it. They're not thinking, league's done already after 2 games. Because in previous years, if we were 6 points after 6 points after 6 points, which funny enough has never happened for us, they'd be already wanting to open top bus. Do you know what I mean? So they've definitely got their mindset on it now. They definitely just know that if I start hearing league title this, league title that, that's not good enough. They need to put the performances out each weekend, and every weekend's going to be tough. And as I say, we've got a big month ahead, and this is the chance for them to go and really make a statement. All right, we've been recognised now, but got to make a big statement this month if we're going to really want to be up there.
Absolutely. Okay. So obviously, when I first see you guys, obviously you weren't, just that's a little bit whippy boys for us. For a couple of seasons, but you've sat there, you've stuck it out, and now hopefully for yourselves, that you've now can bear fruit from all the labour that you've had, and it looks like a positive start. Obviously in the last couple of weeks we've had 2 divisions, Prem teams, and obviously maybe a couple in our league dropping out of the league and such like that. How do you feel about that when you see it going on? Especially because I think, we haven't got good enough players, and I know what you guys have gone through. Yeah. You're kind of thinking,
honestly, it's why I've not really put anything in the group, like in our East Berks group. I'm just going about my own business. I've got a lot of respect for Robert Hype-Train. I've not come across Sing Saba or anything like that, which is a few years ago, which is a sigh of relief, really. But the thing is, it's just all about what you can do. I was still getting boys. It was only like 9, 10 at times, but I was still getting them to come down even when we were on like a 6-lose streak.
Yeah.
And I think it's just all about just wanting, having a group of lads that enjoy being around their mates and want to play football. I'm not really going to be one to kind of dwell on what's going on around us. And I've said to the boys as well, like whoever goes, comes kind of thing, doesn't matter, like we just get on with our own game. I've got, as I say, a lot of respect for Hype Train. I think they're a great run side. They've got a fantastic striker in that Leon. I mean, he causes some chaos, doesn't he? But at the end of the day, it's nothing for me to kind of express on. It's, I just think if you've got a team of players that want to play football, that's absolutely fine. If you don't, then unfortunately that happens in grassroots football. We don't get paid. I wish we did, but I think we all did. But we don't get paid to play football. So if other priorities come about, then that's fair enough. I'm just quite lucky in the years that I've managed to get a squad going, and then this year I've managed to I've got 26 players that are fantastically keen to play football for me. So I kind of go about my own business. I don't kind of dwell on what the other teams are doing around me.
So obviously you've been in the league now for a few years.
Yeah.
You've seen it probably go from 4 leagues to now 3 to 2.
Yeah. It's been crazy.
Yeah. So obviously, what is your opinion of that happening? What do you see? Well, obviously, you're there. You keep yourself to yourself to a certain degree.
Yeah.
But obviously, there's a lot of things going on.
I don't know how controversial this would be. To be fair, every league has, every run league has their types of teams that can be a bit, problematic. You get certain referees that might not officiate a game as well enough because they're just there for the money. I do think that there's been times where things haven't been dealt with as well as they could, but that happens with any league.
Right.
Like, I'm not saying the East Berks is that every league has their issues. I just think that there's just a lot of there's not enough patience with a lot of things. I think a lot of teams, they want an answer like that. If there's something wrong, they want a reaction straight away, and that's fair enough. But that doesn't always happen. We've all, outside of football, we've all got other priorities. And that's going up to the top at East Berks, the people that are the chairmen, the secretaries and everything. They've got a lot going on in their life as well. And they probably get stacks of emails. I mean, they've got a few of me in the past. But I just think maybe, again, sometimes it's just clubs can't get squads to run as fluently as others. It's just, to be fair, it's just a bit like a whirlwind really with football. You either have a full squad and you're like, wow, what am I doing? How am I going to cope with this? And then sometimes you have no players and you're like, oh, what do I do now? I just think, a bit of patience is something that we haven't had from certain clubs. I think there's been a couple of problematic clubs. I'm not going to mention any. And I think there was a period where I especially had a lot of issues with referees, and I think at one point there was a time where Sandhurst couldn't actually get a referee because there was about 2 or 3 referees that we had run-ins with. But it's all part and parcel with grassroots football, I think. And teams are going to come and go, as I say, and that's the way it is really. I'm glad that the teams that I've got a good relationship with are still about. I mean, the Stoke Poges, Old Phoenix have moved on, but I still in contact with them. Hype Train, I know they've had their issues at the start of this season, and it's great to hear that they're actually back on.
I made a mockery of that one, thanks mate.
But no, that's fantastic news, I did see that. But I've got some great relationships with clubs, and those clubs are still running, and that's what keeps me going, and that's what keeps me intrigued with it and stuff. But as I said to the boys do ask me here and there, like, what teams are in the leagues, what teams are above us and stuff like that, in like the Premier and stuff. And a couple of times they're like, oh, where's this team gone, where's that team gone? But I just think, as I said, bit of patience with little things and stuff like that. I know in the past I've spoken to managers and there's been things that haven't been resolved as quickly, or they've had a lot of players go missing and stuff like that, and that's all part and parcel of grassroots.
A couple of questions here.
Yeah, go on.
I'll put it in two parts. Obviously we've got a committee.
Yeah.
One, do you know who our chairman is?
I know a few names, so this is going to make me look.
Well, no, it's not meant to do anything like that. So I'll give you time to answer that one.
Yeah.
And secondly, the second part of the question is, if you were on the committee, now I know that you can't do because of work and such like, what would you change? What one little thing would you change to help immediately?
Okay.
So,
well, I know a lot of names at the top. I don't know exactly all of their roles. You've got Gary Reeves, you've got Alan Higgs, you've got Robert Austin. You've also got the new guy that's come in as well. I've seen him put in a few messages in the group chat.
that Brian?
Brian, yes, that's it, yes. That's a really good question actually. What would I do? To be honest, I kind of like where we're going with what we're doing like this. I think all teams want a bit of recognition. All teams want, my boys last season were quite upset. Not upset, but they were quite disappointed that they didn't get their own showcase game, which has been mentioned this season. So
we'll come back to that in a minute.
Yeah, that's fine. But I just think if I was on the committee, I would do a little bit like this. I feel like this could become like a bit, as I said, weekly thing. I think all managers should get a chance, even if like they brought their captain along, stuff like that. I mean, I could have brought my captain today, but I mean, he was a QPR last night, so he'll be a vet. So yeah, but yeah, just I feel like branching out. I feel like there's so much you could do with grassroots now. The internet's a massive thing. You could, I loved what happened when Rob came down to our Eton Wick game. He was updating on Twitter and stuff like that. I feel like every club should have at least a Twitter or an Instagram. I think that's a must. We've started ours. I think it gives you an opportunity to keep an eye on how everyone else is doing, stay in touch with everyone else. You bring support in as well. Like my posts now are averaging like 30-40 likes, and that's not including my players. That's a lot of like outside fans. We do get, when we're at home especially, a lot of fans come down and watch now, which is great. Yeah. So I think something like that, everyone having an Instagram, everyone having Twitter. I feel like certain games, Bayliss I think do it. They've recorded their games. Hype Train record their games. I feel like that's something that would be quite cool, but then of course some teams don't have the funds for that, which is understandable. I don't have the recording. I use my phone, get the clips that I put on the Instagram, but just kind of making it a bit more than just Saturday League football. I feel like not going crazy and trying to promote it like the Premier League, but just getting more people involved, because everyone's like, hold on a second, that's there on Twitter, that's there on Instagram, that's there on YouTube, he sparks this, he sparks that. And I feel like that would bring a lot more revenue and recognition into the league. That's something I would definitely think of doing. And like this is a great idea. I think everyone should get a chance to come on this. All managers get involved, have a say of what they think. But that's a really good question. I like that one. I never actually really kind of thought about that.
Okay, and obviously we're looking at different bits and pieces, and you mentioned the showcase games. So
yes.
Give me a bit of background to those showcase games, if you do and don't know. The showcase games come around initially was actually an idea I had when we put it into the committee regarding doing an NHS game.
That's a great idea.
Which was an NHS game through COVID, and we were going to do Old Windsor was at the time, who won the league.
Yeah.
And then we were going to get a player from each of the teams to pay a little bit of money to have one of their players in.
That is a great idea.
So like an all-star game.
Yeah.
And it all got sorted out. We even had a kit fresh. There's something similar to this. Actually, the blue that we wear.
Yes, yeah.
Was going to be the kit for the NHS game.
Okay, yeah.
So we had it all sorted out basically, but unfortunately it never come around because of COVID, and it was no one's fault really. But the guy who took it on was John Brennan, because he moved into Burnham, and I've got to say, fair play to John for doing so. I don't think he ever gets enough credit for it, because when it started last year, John basically spoke to Rob Stevens, and basically had him on board a bit, and John really drove it, and he got. He spoke to teams in the Prem at the time, because obviously that's who he deals with on a regular basis, and basically said, look, we're going to put the showcase on and play on Friday and such like, because that's when you can get the ground. And he spoke to our lot and he said, look, we went through a few issues last year, as you well know, and our reserves went up to the first, as the first team, halfway through the season, or quarter way through the season. And one of the first things Danny contacted us and said, look, are you going to play us? We were like, I don't know, because it possibly could have happened. And he said, well, I'm going to make it a showcase game. And from that moment on, and that for us, and I've got to thank John for this, because he turned our season around. We come last, which we deserved to come last. We didn't win enough games. But the boys enjoyed the season, and enjoyed it. And that guy, honestly, the first game, especially in the South Town, when we played South Town, he put so much work into it. And done that. So that's where we were with that. And obviously, it then expanded on that. We kind of promoted it a bit more, and Rob obviously got behind it, and a few others got behind it, and it went from there. We come into this season now, and I know that a few weeks ago, we were looking to, or John was looking to put on a showcase game. For whatever it was vetoed, and it never happened. But you obviously think that's a good idea, and I think that's something the league should do. Obviously, in terms of that, and this is where I think there's probably a slight issue in terms of, one, there's X amount of games you can have, and two, there's a cost to it all. Obviously, how do you think we should fund those costs? Will be for the first one. To teams put their hand in their pocket, because essentially we kind of did that. We got our money back from gate receipts in the end, from a fair few hundred there. But that's not going to happen every game. That's not exactly. Well, they actually did dwindle the numbers, but they're still fairly healthy. But
that's another good question. I don't know, to be fair. I'm a big fan. Let me just put it out there. I think John, that's organised it, I think that's a great idea. I think I'm a big fan of it. I think it's a really good kind of avenue to go down. It gives, like you said, a lot of team recognition. It gives teams a massive boost. We were quite fortunate enough to play, when we played that development league a few years ago, we played Chalfont, and I didn't actually realise that they played at a stadium. And I tell you what, that before this season, that was the best I've ever seen my boys play. We fought out a 1-1 draw. And sorry, I'm going a bit off quickly, but Chalfont actually, because they drew 1-1 with us, they turned round and their manager rang me in the midweek and was like, I hope you don't mind, we recorded the game. We've sat our players in on a Sunday for 3 hours to rewatch the game to learn about your players. And I was thinking, well, my boys came second last season, and we got, they worked their socks off to get a 1-1 draw, but that was massive for them. And I really kind of think that really did spiral us into the right direction, that game. So massive shout out to Chalfont, because they're a fantastic team. I mean, when we played them in the reverse fixture, I think they beat us 5-1 or something, but they're a brilliant side.
They're a very good side,
But that was something that really branched, and I feel like that was the stepping stone for Sandhurst, like going in the right direction. And I think for certain teams as well, it's a massive step. You go from playing on a memorial park where you've got dog walkers, and half the time you have to clear it up off the pitch and stuff before a game, which is like brilliant, to then going to a stadium, and it's a gorgeous stadium as well. I've seen it. In regards to the funding of it, that's a really good question. I don't know where I could go with this one. I mean, ask my dad nicely. No, I feel like the clubs have got to have an understanding that it might have to come out of their pockets.
I'll give you a bit of an idea how much it costs. It's roughly around £450 to £500.
Is that between the two sides, is it?
That's to be split,
Okay, so you're looking at like £250. So it's a difficult one. I mean, whether or not the club itself, so we kind of go into our pockets, and then maybe the club give us a bit of support, like Sandhurst or the East Berks, maybe to promote their league. They give a bit of support and stuff. It's a difficult one for me to answer because I'm not really involved too much with all the money, so I wouldn't want to go, East Berks, you pay all of it, or like, Dad, you pay all of it kind of thing. It's just, I just think it's a way of promoting a league and clubs. So I feel like that could be something good to discuss at a meeting, like properly. Like I feel like we could sit all the teams down and kind of say like, this could be a branch off and make this league, much more recognised. What do we have in mind? I feel like we argue a bit, but we'd come to a decision. I feel like the clubs will come to a decision. I feel like that's a really good idea. But no, I've never thought of that really, and I didn't know the prices, so that's quite nice to actually know. But I spoke with Rob a couple of weeks ago at Eton Wick, and great shout out to Rob. He's been fantastic since he's come in. I think what Rob does is something that is like what I kind of like, where we're trying to go down that avenue. He's taken time out of his day to come and watch a 90-minute game. He's walking around the pitch, he's updating on Twitter. That's fantastic, and he's even given us a bit of coverage on the camera and stuff, which I love being in front of the camera, so I can't complain. But yeah, I think that's brilliant. I think Rob's done a fantastic job. I think some of the men at the top have done brilliant jobs, and it'd be nice to officially meet a few of them. I still haven't met a few of them, which is quite crazy. But showcasing games, and I think that's a massive step forward for the league, and that's something that, in my opinion, is kept a lot of teams here, and also has encouraged a lot of teams to join. I think because I feel like I've spoken with other leagues. Other leagues have dropped to 2 divisions as well. I think the Thames Valley have dropped to 2, or it might be the Aldershot District have dropped to 2 leagues.
Thames Valley.
I think Thames Valley have got loads on there actually. But I've spoken with those leagues, and I've just kind of asked what they do over there and stuff, and they haven't got anything like what a showcase game is, and I feel like that's really something that we're going to kind of express as a league, and I think the East Berks have got to kind of take advantage of that really.
I agree with you on that one. Okay. So obviously showcase game's been won. A few on the committee, and maybe take a note of that, one of the guys on the committee, or which I'm one. What other things? I mean, obviously, I know the committee members are pretty much, no one knows who they are, a lot of the guys, and unfortunately we lost our chairman last year. He's been replaced now, and in fairness, Brian, he's trying to get around, so it's Brian Power.
Yes, I did think it was new Brian,
so he's now the chairman of the league, so I know he's working hard to try and get around to new other games and such like. But again, I think clubs should know who does what and why in there basically, because sometimes obviously maybe the dad always turns up for committee meetings.
Yes, he does,
So he'll know who they are.
100% he will. He'll probably
no one else does in the club. So that's and I know Rob, I know Gary's been trying to get around a few games. Obviously everyone sees Alan, who's our referee secretary.
He's my referee today as well.
Have you ever seen the advert he's been in?
No.
Have you not?
No, I'll have to see. We'll have to show me that after.
I might try and put it in here.
Alan, we've got you now.
The only people that don't know about him in the Carlsberg advert.
Do you know what? I actually am familiar with him being in something, but I just don't think I've ever come round to seeing it.
Okay, I'll see if I can put it in here.
Oh, brilliant. I love that.
Can I have your name, please? Sure. No more, please.
At the Electric Garden, we offer you an experience like no other, with something different happening every day. If you think you've got a little bit of a singing voice, come down on Karaoke Tuesdays. We provide the microphone, and you provide the good vibes. Wednesdays, we get all experimental with the food, and we've linked up with Club My Life to bring you Wing Wednesdays. This is where you can try new and experimental wings that's not even on the menu yet. Thursdays, we go live with local singers, performers and bands coming through to entertain you for the evening. Once we hit the weekend, things get extra lively. Fridays, we bring you night vibes. R&B, hip-hop, house, garage and everything in between. On Saturdays, we bring you Lift. Nothing but uplifting, high-voltage electric energy. Excuse the pun. Whether you're just passing for a taste of the best fried chicken in Berkshire, daytime drinks and a soundtrack, or for some unique weekend vibes, we've got you covered. But remember, the Electric Garden's only a pub, but it's quite possibly the best pub on the planet.
What's your ambitions going forward from here? Obviously, you're doing well so far this season. Forget this season and see where that pans out. What about next 2-3 seasons? What's your ambitions? Where you want to go? What's first of all, what's Jordan's plans, and then what Jordan plans? What's Sandhurst's plans with your team?
These questions are always a bit difficult. I never kind of like plan to in advance. I feel like I like to enjoy the moment, and the way we're playing at the moment, I'm enjoying it. For myself, it's a crazy one really. I kind of am sort of really thinking about going down like seriously with managerial, kind of like really getting myself into that and kind of branching myself out. Not sure where I would go. I'm, definitely this season with Sandhurst is my main focus, my main priority. I want them to win everything they can, and that's what any manager would say. If they didn't, they're deluded. You want your club to do it as well as possible, but I want to make sure that I kind of make a mark across like the league. I feel like it's good to like say how I'm 24, as you say. You don't have to be retired or not playing football anymore to manage a club. You can it's a great experience. I mean, I pretty much do enough steps on the sidelines to almost play 90 minutes. So. But yeah, I just think there's just so much to it. You get to meet so many people, you get to meet so many clubs, and when you play, you turn up and you play for your club. You don't really do what I do, where you interact with different managers, you interact with different committee members and stuff like that. For me, going forward, I say this every year. I don't know where we'll be next year, Sandhurst. I'm sure we'll be going again. I always say that. But for me personally, I definitely feel like sitting down and possibly going into something managing. I've always wanted to do something involved in football, and I think football's going to be my life up until the day I go. I love my football. I live and breathe it. Who knows?
So can you see yourself get to my age? I'm mid-50s, by the way.
Look amazing.
No, you're too kind, mate. I've been involved with football now, probably, I suppose I'll take it from man and boys, 40 years old. Could you see that happening to yourself?
Oh yeah. I'm going to be that granddad that's going to see his grandson playing in the pouring rain on a Sunday morning.
Fantastic.
I love it to bits, and everything about it. I mean, the way Liverpool are playing, hopefully I won't be able to take the Jurgen Klopp's job. But no, I think it's football for me. It's my passion. Anyone who knows me knows I've got the gift of the gab, and I love football, and that's simple as that.
One question I haven't asked yet is you mentioned that you do training sessions and such like. Have you taken an FA course yet?
So I'm actually looking to go in further down the courses and stuff, like kind of taking everything. I've kind of had a bit of support with Sandhurst to go into the coaching for like Sandhurst, the boys, but I haven't had like my full experience of all the courses, like the FA courses and stuff. It'd be something I'm very, very keen to do, because that gives me an opportunity, in the UK, abroad, anything, to kind of go. If I get those courses done and those FA badges, I can kind of, the world's my oyster kind of thing. I can kind of do anything with those. So it's definitely something in the next 12 to 18 months at least, I will be definitely putting myself on and getting into. I think that's something I've really, got myself set on now.
Okay. So obviously, speak about yourself.
Mm-hmm.
About Sandhurst itself, you've done amazingly well, by the way.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
What you've done, you've stuck at it. You've done the struggles, and as much as I don't want you to win anything, I hope you do win something for yourself.
Thank you. I really do appreciate that.
But going forward from there, what Do you see Sandhurst Town looking to get another team in, reserve team possibly? Or
this has been spoken about. Like I said, I'm quite privileged in the fact that I do see a lot of these clubs struggling with players, and I almost, to this point, are having to turn players away at the moment. It's quite funny. My number must be on one of the Sandhurst sites because I just get random phone calls from people. Hi, are you Jordan? Are you the manager? We're looking to sign. And I mean, that's as frequent as last week. I had a message last week. So it's definitely something that could happen. It's just whether or not I get the right personnel to help me out. I mean, I wouldn't be able to run 2 squads. My dad does enough with Sandhurst. My mum would go loopy if he ran another club. But yeah, it's listen. At the end of the day, I've always wanted, for myself, for everyone in my area, I've always wanted football to be something that you can just go to, not have to branch out and travel hours to go to. No. And I feel like even if people haven't played football in school and stuff like that, this is why I've got certain players that have only played football for me. They've not played football in the playground or anything like that. So I definitely think that's an option. Definitely, I think the way we're getting recognised now by Sandhurst itself, I think we might be able to kind of open that up to 18-year-olds who finish at under 18s and then go to uni. But some players are like, well, actually, I still want to play. So if any of the Sandhurst committee, my dad included, want to sit me down and chat about it, I'm happy to chat. I mean, I get, as I said, 26 players I've got this season, and that's not including myself and my dad. So 28 if you had us two. But
get your boots on, mate.
Honestly, do you know what? He says, I don't particularly want to play and stuff. I'll be there. He loves it. He absolutely loves it. And I'll tell you what, we did give him a bit of a sympathy vote. He got goal of the season last season. He scored he scored. I'll tell you what, it was a brilliant finish. He scored against Hearts of Bracknell, who won the league.
Oh wow!
So, funny enough, I played, he played. I crossed the ball into him.
No.
He chested it down, and I'm thinking, where's this going? And he actually did get a good connection to it, put it in the bottom corner. We did have some fantastic goals last season.
You need your brother involved in it, have you?
Yeah, but I'll say my brother took the goal kick. He plays further back. But no, that's the thing. I've developed my brother. I've developed his mates, a lot of my mates and stuff. I'm learning as I go as well because I'm young. I kind of taken everything I've learned from the trials at Barnet, when I was into it, with Sandhurst, the drills I've done, all sorts of things that I learn. I pick up. I do a lot of revision on watching lower leagues, training sessions and stuff, and put my own spin on it and stuff. But it's all about, for me, it's all about just making sure the boys are enjoying it but learning at the same time, and that's the most important thing for me. That's as long as they're enjoying it, but they're getting something out of it as well, and they're competitive, and that's all I'm happy for.
And most importantly, mate, are you enjoying it?
I'm loving it. As much as there's weekends when it's pouring with rain and I've got my hood up and stuff, and I look miserable. I love every minute of it, every single minute of it.
Jordan,
thank you very much.
Thank you for today. Really appreciate your time.
Just quickly, I just do want to say, ex-player of mine, Reece Butcher, he's getting married today. So congratulations to Reece and his wonderful wife-to-be, Jane Noble, who actually, to be fair to them, they come, even though Reece doesn't play anymore, they come every home game to come and watch us, including Jane, bless her, in the rain, whatever weather. So I hope you have a fantastic wedding and best of luck with the future. So
yeah, congratulations Reece and Jane, and I hope you get the weather you deserve, and congratulations. Jordan, thank you very much once again, and we look forward to seeing this one.
Yes, take care. Cheers.
Once again, thank you everyone for watching the podcast. Please, just want to say a quick shout out to our sponsors who help us to put this together. Once again, thank you to Jordan.
Thank you, Mark.
And please, if you've seen this video, please like and subscribe. Thank you very much.
Ice in my veins, I've been driving this train. Years in this lane, there's no stopping this flame. Cause I came to the game and I changed it to play how I like, rearranged it to my own domain. Yeah, I got what it takes.